Should you be live streaming? Yeah. Hey, Emma. Sweet.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for this media briefing. We are going to get started here in just a moment, but just to lay down a few ground rules as we start. We're going to focus on the presentation for the first part of this. We're going to go probably 20-25 minutes. There will be time at the end allotted for questions, and if there is any requests for some one-on-one interviews afterwards, we can accommodate that. We're probably going to see how time goes, but I'm thinking 5 to 6 questions. We do have some other appointments that we have to get to today, but we do want to make sure that all questions are answered. Any questions that we can answer, we will. So there will be a corresponding news release sent out, so if there's any information that you're looking for afterwards, feel free to coordinate with me. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Heather Rosen, our President and Chief of Operations.
Thank you all for being here today. This is a serious event that I think most of us will never forget. Although as a team, we've been working around the clock for the last 2 days for our customers, we still have several days ahead of us. And today I want to focus on our plan to restore the nearly 37,000 natural gas customers who have been without heat and hot water and other services for the last 40 hours. Our top priority remains the same: to restore natural gas as quickly and as safely as possible to our customers. We are aware of the hardship, the stress, and the frustration that people are experiencing, particularly with the cold weather upon us. Our team is doing everything we can to expedite the work. And as for the current status of the restoration process, I am happy to share that we've essentially completed another important phase of the restoration process. The safety shutoff process is essentially complete, and this was supported by over 260 Avista employees who amassed over 3,000 hours of work time to get this phase done. And we are now able to begin the next step of the restoration process, which is our customer relights. And thanks to our amazing employees, our peer utilities, our HVAC responders, by the end of the day today, we expect to have over 500 responders in the area supporting this final restoration step. And at a high level, we expect to have all customers relit by the end of the day this upcoming Tuesday. Through the incredible support we've received, we've been able to turn an incident that could have taken weeks to resolve into being able to restore everyone in less than a week. We will keep working until every customer is restored. This is the largest natural gas outage in Avista's history by far. The restoration process involves many steps that take time to ensure the safety of our customers and our employees. And we know having a more exact relight time is important to our customers, especially because they're required to be on site for that relight step. So to discuss in more detail about that restoration process and the relight plan, I would like to invite Josh DeLuciano, our Vice President of Energy Delivery, to the microphone.
Thank you, Heather. As Heather was mentioning, we are mostly complete with our initial shutdown process. And to start the relight, it's time consuming, so I'm going to take a couple minutes to walk you through what we're going to do over the next several days. Avista crews have been going house to house around the clock to do the shutoff. And then as of this morning, we had completed the shutoff and we were able to start preparing the system for repressurization. This process will have to go zone by zone, town by town to get the relights started. We are starting the relight processes in those areas that are repressurized. And as Heather mentioned, the process is going to take up to 5 days. For the relight, what's going to happen is customers will have a knock on the door by an Avista serviceman. They'll enter the property when a resident is home. We'll need a resident to be home for this to work. So an adult will need to be present for the service person to be let in to do the process. We're asking customers not to leave their homes unlocked. And all of our field personnel who are conducting the relights will have proper identification. Once the relight process is started, Avista will check the appliances for the residents and the commercial businesses. If a resident is not home, Avista will leave a door hanger letting them know that we try to do the relight with a 1-800 number that they can call us to get on the list to have us come back and check that. Customers do not need to call us to schedule a relight. We have a plan and a process for all the customers. As we do the relights, there's no cost to the customers. We will be sequencing the relights based on the geography of our system and our critical customers. We have identified 6 customer zones by city, and they have a 1 to 2 day window for relights. We have teams of people working each zone through the completion of the relight process. So we'll be working each of these zones until we get all the customers relit that are present and available to do that. And again, they can call us to let us know if they were missed so we can come back and get them. Today, we're going to send an email to all of our impacted customers with the maps and the estimated time for each of their zones. This will give them a 2-day window to know when we're going to be in their area doing the relights. And then starting tomorrow, within 24 hours of us planning on doing the relight, customers will receive a notification on the phone. So if customers haven't updated their phone numbers, this would be a good time to do so they know we'll be in their areas. As a reminder, the relights will only occur between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. And then I'm going to show you guys some maps of our relight zones. So here's an example for Clarkston, and these are the maps that are going to be available on the web and sent out to customers. Each zone is identified on there, and we're going to be working sequentially through each one of these towns. So here's the Clarkston area, our Lewiston area, our Pullman area, Moscow, North Pullman, so this is up towards Albion and Palouse, and then the Colton, Uniontown, Genesee areas. And then we have the lateral that goes out to Bowlville, so that'll be one of the other zones. We will have people working actively by zone numbers. So, for example, we have Zone 1. We'll have people working there in all of the towns. Not each town will be worked sequentially. Each zone will be worked sequentially. So today, Zone 0, that's on those maps, will be working for Friday, November 10th. Zone 1 primarily will be worked tonight and in tomorrow through the 11th. Zone 2 will be Saturday into Sunday. Zone 3 will be Sunday into Monday. Zone 4 will be Monday into Tuesday, except for Lewiston Zone 4, that's Sunday. And then Zone 5 will be Sunday through Tuesday. That's the cleanup areas that we have out there. Finally, I want to remind people of a couple of safety reminders. Please do not use any outdoor equipment to try to heat your home. Barbecues, other things not rated for indoor use can cause a hazard, and it's dangerous to our customers. So do not be using outdoor appliances in the home to heat. Secondly, Avista is the person who needs to come in and relight the homes. Now that the system is ready for relight, please do not take it upon yourselves to do the relight. Wait for Avista to show up and do that work for you. Thank you. Heather, back to you.
Thank you, Josh. Now, before I wrap up, I have the honor of getting to do all the thank yous because there have been so many people who have responded and supported this effort so well. We have many people to thank today. So first and foremost, I want to thank our customers. The stories we've heard about people helping their neighbors and even strangers say something about our community and the people who live here. And the incredible kindness the community has shown to our employees has been absolutely heartwarming. This is an amazing community that comes together in times of crisis, and thank you for taking care of each other. And speaking of the community stepping up during this challenging time, I want to outline several resources that are available in the community for those in need. The Palouse Community Center, the Latah Recovery Center, the Moscow location, the Moscow Unitarian Church, the Albion Community Center in Albion. And if you need their services, please call before you go. I'd also like to thank our partners, cities and elected officials, first responders, nonprofit agencies, and countless others. I'd like to thank all of our mutual aid crews who have joined us from 8 peer utilities throughout the entire western United States, from as far away as Wyoming and California. We've also received help from contractors and HVAC resources. And these dedicated individuals are sacrificing time away from their families to help our community. I'd also like to thank Williams Pipeline for the quick response and repair that allowed us to quickly move forward on our work. And finally, I'd like to thank our employees who have been working around the clock to restore services for our customers. So in closing, I want again to express my sincere gratitude for the patience our customers have had during this crisis. Avista will continue to work around the clock until all of our customers are restored, and we will provide more updates as the process continues. So now I will open it up to questions. Yes.
Heather, Glenn Mosley with Idaho Public Radio in Moscow.
Hi.
Could you address the issue of the backup? I mean, this line is ruptured and that's it. So what's the story there with the backup or the lack of?
Yes, and I think when we look at the design of our system and any upgrades or new lines to our system, we're regularly looking at the cost of that upgrade, and just based on the geographic location of where the community is and where the pipeline is, and looking at the infrequency of the outages that occur, it just wouldn't be affordable for customers to have a secondary source to the area.
Thank you.
Lee Roberta's KRFP radio. How late at night and what sort of schedule will the relight crews be working on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they'll be working from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. doing the relights.
And what happens if people try to relight themselves?
It could introduce a hazardous situation in their home if they don't relight properly, or if there's a problem with their equipment and they're not qualified to identify that or notice it. So it could put them at risk if they relight without a qualified service personnel doing that work for them.
Guy Tannenbaum, KHQ, Spokane. You know, we've heard estimates of the number of customers without natural gas within, you know, the 35, 40,000 number range. Are you able to estimate the number of people that have been impacted? Because customers could be, you know, apartment complex, multifamily dwellings, hotels, schools, et cetera.
Right. I think we would have to follow up with you on that. I don't think we have that number.
James Hammond, spokesman of you. Can we know how much gas was used?
Since it was a Williams pipeline rupture, we don't have that information. I would refer you to connect with them on that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Tom Handy, Whitman County Commissioner. You said, I think you mentioned something about prioritization for certain types of facilities. Can you illuminate that a little?
Right, based on our critical customers, so that would be customers such as hospitals or public safety or public health entities, the airport, customers like that. There's actually just a handful of them. It's not very many. Yep.
Eileen McCall, Pullman City Council. Both Pullman and Moscow have an extremely diverse community. Do you have enough persons of diversity out making these field contacts? I know several households that, due to their cultural backgrounds, are not going to allow men in the house. Do you have any women in the field? who can
I will follow
address-
up. I will follow up on
address
that.
those households?
We do have some women, and we'll, follow up to make sure we're being
Yeah.
thoughtful about that. Thank you.
Could you talk about, Heather, the response the company goes through when you receive the alert? Do you have an emergency plan or strategic effort in
Yes.
place, or how does that work?
Yes, we have an emergency operating procedure that we put into place and call, and that starts a structured process of regular phone calls and people moving into different roles than they would have on a day-to-day basis. They move into their EOP, emergency operating procedure roles. So yes, we move into a different structure that we have a pre-identified framework for when we go into these kinds of emergencies. And we have had these on the electric side more often than on the gas side, and so we've had opportunities to practice and implement these kind of activities before.
I won't use any colorful metaphors because I understand we're live streaming, but when you did receive the alert, did you know right away what kind of a oh moment this was?
So I received the call from our director of gas operations. We were in a meeting, and I had to do a double take because of just the number. This is just unprecedented for us, and so and then it was immediately okay. Let's get the command structure figured out, and then the first step is assessment. What are the needs are, and so I would say once we knew the impact, within an hour we were communicating to our peer utilities asking for mutual aid and support, just because we knew how big it was going to be and how long the process it takes to get people here and to do the restoration work. So there was a moment of this is big, and then let's rally and do the work that we're really good at in responding in these kind of events.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is big not just for us, but for any natural gas utility in the country. This would be big.
What's the economic impact on Avista? Will this affect people's power rates?
We're working on collecting the cost, but I don't have an answer to you for that yet.
In the same vein of the number of people and the significance, have you guys seen anything like this? Not just with natural gas, but electric as well. I mean, how unprecedented is something like this affecting 100 square miles of area?
I mean, our largest probably emergency operating procedure event that we've had prior to this was probably the 2015 windstorm that we had on the electric side.
And that was about half of our customers
Yeah.
broadly spread out through our system. And with natural gas, it's a little bit different, where the shut-off process and relight process, it's not damage repair that takes time. It's the one-on-one interaction with every customer to get the service turned off and back on. So it's a different event, but they're very large from a manpower perspective.
I'm Nathan with CREM 2. There's two big colleges in the area. We've been talking to some of these students. These are massive dorms, and is Avista prioritizing any of the students at all, or going to get on them faster than some neighborhoods?
I know that we have our account executives and our regional business managers are working with our large customers that have impacts to large populations like the universities, so they are working directly with them to coordinate the response.
Tom Lamar, Layton County Commissioner. What time are you sending out this information to the customers today, and are you going to be backing that up with posts online? And I just want to say thank you also to Avista for quick information that's come out about all of this. It's been great to be able to have the county share it, cities share it to others to make sure that we're repeating that message out to people on safety and others.
Thank you. Yeah, the plan is to get it out as close to this press conference as possible, so it should be online and communication going out to the impacted customers right away.
Was the pipeline on private land where it ruptured, or was it adjacent to private land? What was the situation there?
It was a Williams pipeline incident, so if you have questions about that incident, you'd have to refer it to Williams Pipeline to talk about what happened there.
Was there any part of the region that was more impacted than others in terms of more customers in the LC Valley versus up here in Moscow, Pullman, or vice versa?
It hit everybody equally around the same time.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably get a lot of questions about how the zones are prioritized.
I would say they weren't prioritized, they were just ordered based on the geographic location of our infrastructure and how it was pressurized, and put a plan together based on that. And
Yeah, the first step is to repressurize our pipelines, and so we wanted, as we repressurized our pipeline, we wanted to start relights as soon as we can. So the pipe as it goes through the system, that's the parts that we repressurize in a sequential manner, and that just ties to how we would start the relight. So we prioritize it so we can be working on it as fast as possible.
Good.
And same thing for last night, we prioritized the turnoffs because we knew we were gonna have opportunity to start relights today. So we wanted to make sure the right zones were turned off so we could start the relights as soon as possible today.
Okay, that's great.
Anthony Kuipers, Moscow Pullman Daily News. Can you explain what a relight means, what that process entails?
Right, so that's where we have to have a qualified person from Avista come. They're gonna turn on the meter, and then they're gonna enter the home and make sure the natural gas appliances start safely. That's pretty much it. So that if they have furnaces, hot water tanks, or ovens, that's what they're gonna check and make sure the pilot lights start. Or if they have electronic ignitions, they'll start as well.
Chris Mitchell, KLEW. So with the zones divided, are there the different kinds of zones are in like the different service areas depending on if they have like a hospital or something like you said, it's not, zones are go directly with the region they're in? Or how does that stand?
The zones are really driven by the pipe infrastructure, where we have pipe and we have zones that we could repressurize, test, and then start the relight process. And they have mixes of use. If you look at the maps, there's all kinds, the Pullman one, there's commercial all throughout, the hospital's one area. So it's really driven by how the gas will flow through the system.
But that's like with the numbers within the map slots, like it can change, it could, or I'm wording this poorly, but the numbers can be different, or you have all the numbers in the multiple regions, but it's not all the same zone is in the region only.
So like zone 1, there's a zone 1 for all of the 7 areas we've identified, and mostly they're going to be worked at the same time, but a website will have the most accurate information, and then email will have the timeline and the calls for customers. That'll be the best way to know when we're going to be out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you using any crews from other contractors to supplement your guys' manpower in order to try and make this happen quicker?
right, absolutely. We have the contractors, we have the 8 different utility mutual aid crews that are supporting us from multiple different states across the western United States. And HVAC responders as well, so yes.
What can we do to help you?
Oh.
I think as we start this process, be expecting somebody to come to your neighborhood, and again, the hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., so they're going to be clearly identified. Meter access, just like the shops, we still need meter access to be able to get in there. I think those would be the most important things. And then we have a plan, and so just like an electric outage, it may feel weird that your neighbor might mention they have heat on, but you might not still for a while, and it's based on how our pipeline's set up. So we do have a plan. We're working those zones, and so if they're missed, they can call us, but we will be knocking on everybody's door in the community through Tuesday.
Thank you.
Marissa Rio, KXLY. Those in Zone 0 and Zone 1, are they notified already that they'll be getting their gas worked on tonight?
At least Zone 0, I'm assuming, has been notified, and Zone 1 will be soon if they haven't been already. Yep.
Okay, why don't we do 1 or 2 more questions, and then, like I said, we will offer some time for one-on-ones if you want, but I just want to keep eye on time here. So 1 or 2 more questions, anybody?
Are there any lessons you're going to take from this experience that you're going to use in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the process has gone as well as it has because we've learned from our past experiences. As Heather mentioned, we've had large-scale electric storms before our events, and so we really have applied what we've learned for this sort of event. And so we will be applying our lessons learned, and I'm sure, because Heather mentioned just the scales is unique for a gas utility, we'll definitely be sharing it with our peer utilities as well because of the uniqueness of what goes on.
Yeah, we had just been talking about planning a tabletop exercise similar to this with our other peer utilities, and so this is, quite an opportunity for us to learn and share that with our peer utilities across the country. Mhm. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Mhm.
Well,